Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have a problem with the phrase breaking barriers. Now, hold on a second, I know what you're all thinking. This is confusing, right? I mean, this talk today is about breaking barriers. How could I have a problem with the very thing I'm supposed to talk about? And yes, you're right. I mean, it does seem quite contradictory, but wait. Allow me to explain myself first. See, I actually do strongly believe in the power of getting past our obstacles and challenging the status quo. And I guess in that regards, breaking barriers is powerful. I mean, it's brilliant. See, the issue I have lies solely within one word, and that word is breaking. Because for me, when I hear the term breaking, so as you can see from this image here, breaking barriers gives us the image of a single individual against a large brick wall, just tirelessly slogging away until finally he's able to reach his goal of coming to the other side. And yes, this image is powerful in conveying determination and perseverance. But where I believe it fails is in showing how sometimes, just sometimes, innovative thinking and simplicity is actually equally as important. I mean, we can take something like a hurdles race, for an example. Very famous Olympic event, I'm sure you all know what a hurdles race is. Now, I'm definitely not claiming to be any sort of professional hurdles runner, clearly, but even I can tell you that this isn't the most efficient way to run your race. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to realize that running into each individual hurdle won't get you to the finish line in the fastest time. Actually, the most efficient way to reach the finish line in a hurdles race is by going over them, leaping over the barrier. See, what I'm trying to say is sometimes breaking the barrier isn't the best way to reach your goal. And hence, I propose a revised definition on the phrase breaking barriers, one that's more inclusive. I'd say we should say overcoming barriers. See, this way we still keep the essence of hard work and perseverance that makes breaking barriers so powerful, yet we can also appreciate the importance of thinking outside the box and being critical in our thinking. Now, this is all nicely said and done, but at the end of the day, right now, it's just my word. And while I do strongly believe in everything I've said so far, I mean, everyone would like a powerful example, and even I'm a strong believer in the power of practical examples. So what better way to show you guys and demonstrate what I've been talking about than a story taken from the fields I'm so very passionate about, biomedicine and pharmacology. So let's set the scene. It's the early 1970s, and the most powerful disease of all human history is running rampant across the world, specifically sub-Saharan Africa. Millions of people are dying every single day to this disease, and every single year to this disease named as malaria. Researchers and scientists are being sent scrambling, trying to find a cure. The main basis for the search for the cure is going about synthesizing a new chemical compound, one that will be used to form a drug as a treatment against the malaria parasite. Now, this is much easier said than done, and the scientists encountered many issues when trying this approach. One major one being, it's one thing to synthesize a chemical compound that's able to treat such a complex illness such as malaria, but it's another thing entirely to come up with one that's also safe to use on humans. Side effects were prominent in most of the early treatments, and they weren't actually able to be used with ethics on a human population. Another great issue that was seen was the fact that the malaria parasite itself was constantly changing. Every single day there were new adaptations, new resistances being discovered, and these were causing great distress to the scientists and researchers. Developing a cure for malaria was proving to be a literal nightmare, and the world was well and truly stunned. No one knew where the answer to such a complex issue could reside. So what if I told you that the answer to this issue lay nowhere else but a small laboratory in southern China, where a woman was about to take an approach and make a discovery that would change the course of history forever. Her name is Tu Youyou, and she thought differently to the other researchers. See, unlike the other researchers, Tu was a fan of ancient Chinese herbal medicine. She researched it thoroughly in search for a cure of malaria. Now you might be wondering, Shane, you didn't mention this strategy as one of the approaches scientists use for a cure for malaria, so why didn't you mention it? Well, actually, not many people favored this approach, as it was deemed as primitive and old-fashioned as a way of thinking. But Tu Youyou didn't listen to these people. See, she stayed strong to what she believed in, and she carried out her research regardless of what anyone said. She continued continuously researching ancient Chinese texts and scriptures, and eventually she found something quite intriguing. She found an ancient Chinese herbal remedy that was previously used to treat fever. In curiosity, she rigorously tested the active component of this remedy, and she found something remarkable. She discovered a compound that was based and derived from this plant-based remedy, and this compound showed vast success in curing malaria. This compound, later named artemisinin, would go on to save millions of lives and change the course of history forever. What made Tu Youyou's discovery so remarkable was not only her hard work, grit, and perseverance, but also her innovation. See, while other researchers were sent scrambling, trying to look for new chemical compounds, trying to synthesize new and innovative diseases, Tu stepped back for a second. She looked at the wider picture. She looked to the past for wisdom, and it proved to be a brilliant decision. Tu Youyou was rewarded for her excellence, as in 2015, she won a Nobel Prize in Medicine or Physiology for her remarkable discovery of artemisinin. But to be honest, Tu's achievements don't even stop there, as she also broke a significant barrier that existed in the field of women in STEM. At the time, there were very few women working in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and medicine, and this was especially relevant to where Tu resided, China. But despite these disadvantages, Tu Youyou remained undeterred. She didn't listen to what society expected of her to achieve as a woman. She stayed strong, and she fulfilled all of her dreams. Actually, in this case, I think it's very fair for us to say that she broke through a significant barrier, because not only did she get through the barrier to achieve her own success, but she paved the way for so many future generations to achieve their own successes as well. Nowadays, in today's world, we face adversity in many forms, whether it's walls of inequality, social injustices, or systemic discrimination that at times it may seem insurmountable. But we can always look to figures of hope, such as Tu Youyou, and have solace in the fact that we are able to overcome any of our obstacles regardless of what anyone tells us. Another important thing when breaking barriers is realizing that we have many personal barriers of our own. These personal barriers often come in the form of fear of failure and self-doubt. We often feel trapped in our current circumstances, unsure of how to move forward. But just as Tu Youyou looked for past wisdom to fulfill her dreams, we too can look to the wisdom of the past to learn how to face our barriers. We can learn from those who have come before us, whether it's mentors, counselors, teachers, or even parents. These people are there to help us. Nowadays, actually something I've been noticing within my peers or those around me is that people are more and more reluctant to ask for help. They feel unsure of how to talk about their barriers with those around them. And this is all because we're afraid of feeling weak. And I actually find this quite ironic. I find it funny because in reality, asking for help is only going to make you stronger. So next time you feel afraid, you're unsure of how to move forward, don't feel afraid to ask for help. It doesn't make you any less strong. The people around us and their rich, past, unfiltered wisdom is there to help us. Another thing that's very important to account for when breaking barriers is our ability to embrace change. We must be open to new ideas, willing to take new viewpoints, and most importantly, willing to change our way of doing things. We must be open to take risks, step outside the zone we deem comfortable. As the saying goes, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Reminding us that if we don't change our ways when we want to achieve successes, if we are not willing to change what we're doing, we're never going to achieve the dreams we so aspire to achieve. So, whether you're facing a barrier in your school, in your career, in your personal lives, or even a barrier that comes at us as a society as a whole, never lose hope. Always keep your eyes on your goal and stay unfaltered. Even if the path forward seems uncertain or daunting, stay strong and have solace in the fact that you, yes, all of you, are able to, with the right approach, face your barriers. So next time you're feeling unsure with a difficult math problem, Maybe you're a bit concerned because you're in a challenging situation, or maybe you're feeling a bit disappointed from the performance of a certain football player. I want you to remember that you are powerful enough and you are strong enough to face whatever issue comes your way. So let us come together. Let us step forward with courage and confidence. Face our barriers head on. Take the appropriate steps. And always remember that we are capable of achieving all our goals. And as the great Nelson Mandela once said, it always seems impossible until it is done. Thank you, everybody.